See that.
Not that there's any vote.
No, but Jake's item is out for closed session. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Unfortunate.
Oh, yeah.
And then Michael has to leave.
Right out.
Absolutely.
Get past the gate.
Yeah,
Mornings are night.
gotta get that kid a car.
Good.
Huh? Gotta get that kid a car.
Oh, yeah.
He got it. He passed his written yesterday.
Oh, well, he's close then. No, I said he's close then.
That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
well, I was actually looking before I got here. I was actually looking for cars for him.
Yeah,
It's new.
yeah, that'd be a new set of headaches for dad.
Yeah, but
Oh my-
Bree's dad doesn't always have to take him early in the school and pick him up.
Yeah,
Launchpad.
He could do that himself.
Launchpad.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have to go drive and go get him hamburgers that from In-N-Out when he wants
Launchpad
them.
of guns. But I couldn't find like capture.
On it.
So I gotta just type in capture. Maybe it'll.
How you do it?
hanging in there.
Got the screenshot.
Going on.
Not much.
Hanging in there usually means you're not doing that great. Yeah, Alfred.
Lots of demand on my time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's apps then.
Good to see you.
And shift.
Not too bad.
What did that do?
Screenshot of that.
Oh, that's a.
Your little Yeah, I guess it was the right time. It's a good time. Right. This chart.
Ah.
Four. Tonight, too. Take that.
Okay.
Hop over. Get it all out of the way. Yeah, hop over.
Peters, like my cowboy.
Do we have Adam today? He's still in camp.
Patty's,
He's here?
no, she's remote. She can't vote.
That's what we.
How far are
what
you?
is it? But we just got destroyed by the bears.
He's in Montana.
Wow.
Everything's up. I
So what are you doing? Honeydews or something? Honeydews you got?
I need to. So I have like.
Sick Horse, a journal that I need to turn out for
I mean, they're
American Aviation Historical Society. A
How about
bunch of work on my property, just.
one, if the guy didn't
On
take
Zoom,
the
you click-
64-yard field goal, going overtime, we'd be
Could be worse.
Yeah.
It's the sick horse.
That's how bad we.
Isn't that the-
But then I come off reading and that's.
He,
You don't.
Yeah.
was screwing around, fell down
Not in overtime.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and he got a real
He was
bad
going-
bruise on his upper leg.
Long season.
And it's like a football on the.
Number one pick.
If finally, I don't know, my wife owns 3.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that sometimes husband's got his horse, wife's got hers. They're all hers.
This is my worst.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, you couldn't
When
talk her
thick
out of
is
it. huh? My wife, she used to ride. And I.
Oh, that's
Hey,
great.
Good, are you
Give them
married?
5 years.
Too much work.
Must be a lot of.
Popular employees of being
We have
recognized and then.
Man.
seven
Then
And we've had as many as
What's
8
the
horses
special?
on the property. We ran a rehab facility for a while, but we're trying to shut down. We're down to full.
And then they have something.
Do you ride them or do you keep them all, pretty much keep them on the property?
I have no interest in large furry creatures. I don't ride them. I just shovel the shit.
Does she ride them all?
Not recently, because she got tossed off and broke 3 ribs and a foot and a whole bunch of problems.
It's time to get a new hobby.
Well, convinced her of that. She loves horses. Little girls and horses. Call to order for the Rainbow Municipal Water District Board of Directors meetings for September 23rd, 2025. Can I have a roll call, please?
President Hamilton,
Here?
Director Mack.
Here.
Director Hoffman. Here. Director Irvine,
Here.
and we have Director Townsend Smith remote as an observer today. Thank you.
Here.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any or deletions to the agenda?
None.
None from staff? Any from the board members?
Nothing from the board. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as published?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Director Mack, seconded by Director Irvine. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes. Director Irvine,
Aye.
Director Hamilton,
Aye.
motion carries 4-0.
Point of order question, do we still need to do roll call? Okay. Public comment. Any person may address the board at this time on any subjects not identified in this agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the Rainbow Municipal Water District. However, any matter that requires action will be referred to staff for a report and action at a subsequent board meeting. As to matters on the agenda, if a request to make a public comment is received, an opportunity will be given to address the board when that matter is considered. Do we have any requests?
I have none.
We have no members of public online.
Okay, then I will forgo reading the details. Item number 7, employee recognition.
Yes, we have one this month, and as you can see, one of our more unpopular employees, Mr. Cruz, and Josh is celebrating 5 years with the district, and really kind of a meteoric rise for Josh. Started during the COVID pandemic, so kind of an odd time to start a new job, but really has been a leader at this district and continues to take on kind of more and more responsibility as time goes on. Most recently took over the meters department as well as the customer services department. So has a relatively large staff that he oversees, but really has pushed the district forward in a lot of different directions. Customer service being kind of first and foremost. I know if you're part of that committee, that just the metrics that come back, have improved 4, 5, 6-fold since Josh has instituted a lot of these improvements, and so I think just our response to our customers, and now kind of that innovation is kind of leading our meter group too, which is really, really important to the district. So nobody I would entrust more than Josh Cruz. And so appreciate the first 5 years and looking forward to the next 25. Yeah. So come on up.
It's gonna look like Patty's in your picture. That'll be a good picture. It'll look like Patty.
It's our audience.
Yeah, you're losing them all.
Big family.
All right, back to work.
Is that his staff leaving too?
Yes, that is.
Wow. Somebody drew the short straw. They had to man the phones while we were in session. Committee meeting summaries, Budget and Finance Committee.
Budget and Finance Committee did not meet this month,
Okay.
nor did E&O.
Communication and Customer Service.
Good. Thank you. Okay.
The Communications and Customer Service met last Tuesday, September 16th. We discussed our most recent customer service, our most recent customer service quarterly call metrics and the crop swap programs update, and you will receive a full update on the crop swap program later on. And during this meeting, we reviewed our water use efficiency rebate and programs that are available to our customers. Currently, the County of San Diego's Waterscape rebate program has launched with new incentives available for unincorporated areas that with a range of incentives for landscape, rain capture rebates. So the best part of all is that we can stack our rebates. So the county will offer $1, and then we can stack that with an incentive from Metropolitan and then one from EMWD. So currently residential rebate for turf replacement are at $5 a square foot, and our commercial rebates are $7 a square foot. So great time to revamp your lawn and remove it and replace with California friendly landscape. We also have through the county enhanced support. So there's free customer support available for turf replacement projects. So if our customers are in a situation where they've ripped out their lawn, they don't know what to plant, they've started the project, stopped it, do not know where to go, they can receive live assistance from an actual person to walk them through step by step of their rebate and end up having a beautiful new yard that not only saves money, but water as well. Then we reviewed our smart flow monitor solution. Currently, we offer the Flume device for our customers. We were the first public agency to take part in this program. And the rate for our customers is $49. Retail, mind you, is $249. We are near the end of our contract. Last month, we ran a newsletter article about the importance of catching those leaks early on and how Flume plays a vital role in notifying our customers. So we saw a strong uptick from usual about 6 purchases of Flume devices per month. We went up to 20 in the month of August. So that left us with less than 90 devices on our contract. So we are in talks right now with Flume to look at what that pricing is going to look like for a new contract. Currently right now, it's going to be about $75 per device. We will pay a subsidized version of that with $130 per device. So close to our 49, but we have to consider it's an upgraded device from our original Flume One. And then we also researched information on our smart water shutoff devices. So these devices turn off the water automatically when you have a leak. Most of them come with a pretty hefty plumber installation requirement. That's with the Moen Flow and the Fin Plus that are available through Met. We found one with Yolink. They are a partner from Flume, and their device also has the full shutoff capability, but without the need to have a plumber install the device. So we're currently looking to other ways that we can bring those shutoff devices to our customers, and we'll keep committee up to date on that information. And we have here a makeover to our homepage. So thanks to our website provider, they provided us with a new series of designs that we can use. So we upgraded the site. This is just a demo of it that will go live next month. Our navigation has more of a higher contrast there with the blue and the white. We have quick links in underneath the large landscape photo. And then later on down the page, we have an article section that will be some of our hot ticket items that we've had newsletter information about, things that our customer service has informed them that the public is really asking a lot of questions about. At the bottom, it will auto-populate with all of our meetings and it links to agendas. And then we are also working to improve our site overall. In the state of California, we have to maintain sites that are in compliance for those with visual and hearing impairment, excuse me. So in order to meet the deadline as a special district in April of 2027, we have to make sure that our site is fully accessible, not just when you view the site and tab through, but also the documents that we have on the site. So we're working on PDF remediation. So this will allow visitors to our site to view the agenda, the newsletter, any other reports that we have on the site. They'll be able to easily transfer that information to a screen reader. So anyone with a visual or hearing impairment will be able to go through the document and understand it'll have a chronological order of reading. So staff has been researching heavily on this area to improve our efficiency so that we can provide those documents that are readily accessible for those who may need them.
Yeah, more to come on that too. I mean, that's a regulation. I mean, we're mandated to do it. I think the balance on that thing is, every PDF that's on there has to be basically converted to be accessible. There is a cost to doing that. And so right now we're kind of going through, we've got some time, right? We've got 18 months or so to kind of go through. But trying to balance, I mean, obviously we like to keep a lot of our documentation on the website, right? Budget books and all those things that kind of increase public transparency. And, but now there's a cost to doing that. So we're kind of going through and trying to balance those two kind of priorities. So more to come on that, I guess is.
Do audio.
Well, like I said, each PDF has to be converted to be accessible, so they can do
Yeah, it would be a plugin that the visitor to the site would use. It was their choice of what type of vendor they'd like to have with those screen reader capabilities.
so.
There's
More to-
also, I believe there's also a text requirement for any videos you have.
Yes, there
Volume.
is. And we have that compliance through YouTube. Just have to make sure we're keeping up to date, just double checking. Yeah, Director Mack.
Some clarification, a couple slides back on the rebate program.
Mhm.
When it said trees, that's,
Yes.
so if you plant a tree, you get $100 up to
Yes.
5?
So up to 5 trees, it's their tree rebate that was introduced earlier this year. There's a very specific type of tree that you have to plant that's on that list.
Because I was gonna ask
Yeah.
you, is a palm tree considered a?
Low
tree?
water usage trees. Yeah, and that goes the same for plants, and all of that's available on the Metropolitan website. But we also have that information readily available on our website.
I need to talk to you.
Yeah. But now is the perfect time. It is fall. That's why we've been pushing it in our newsletter.
Wonderful, thank you.
Then we have our fall events, but we do invite you all to join us. These are 2 free community events. We have the annual North County Fire Protection District open house at Fire Station 1 in Fallbrook on Ivy Street. It will be Saturday, October 4th from 9 to 1. We're going to be giving out some complimentary gifts to our customers, as well as some freebie candy and items for kids. There's going to be live demonstrations for kids to get up close with those emergency vehicles. It's a great opportunity just to ask questions if you have them. We have fire, sheriff's department, and then we will be there with a bunch of other emergency services. And then our fall mobile blood drive will take place on Thursday, October 16th here at Rainbow Water in the parking lot. You can sign up on our website, and all donors will receive a free Mickey Halloween t-shirt.
Amanda, I was thinking about last time you presented this and I thought later it should say where. Unless there's somewhere else they go to find out where. Like you're saying it's on Ivy Street and you're saying it's here, the blood bank, but do people know?
Yes, all that information on our website. This is just a quick
Okay.
summary for us.
Okay.
Yeah. We will have a press release for the blood drive and an ad in the paper, and we're also working with our local chambers of commerce to help promote the event. And then North County Fire will also have information in the paper and then on their website. But all this is under our event section, or it's on the homepage of our website. And then for the newsletter, the month of September, we gave an update on the water supply conditions. Being an optimal blend for our agricultural customers. We have lower than normal TDS levels right now, reporting from Lake Skinner. We have landscape upgrades, and we've touched on those rebates from the Waterscape program. And we have free online landscape workshops available through MET and Green Creation, as well as our fall event. And that concludes our committee summary.
And I got a quick question for you. Back on the devices, the Flume and the other devices, if you took part in that program and purchased a device 3 or 4 years ago, that device fails or it's upgraded, can you replace that again and still take advantage of the discounted rate, or is it a one-shot deal?
It is unfortunately a one-time deal within our contract that
Got
it
it.
was 1 per customer. However, we can get you in touch with Flume's customer service, and they will offer a reduced rate
Okay.
for that second device. Although if there is a defect with the Flume One, they will be more than happy to accommodate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Item number 9, consent calendar. Are there any questions relative to the items on the consent calendar? If not, can I have a motion to accept the items as posted?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Mack, seconded by Director Irvine. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Action items. Consider the approval for additional funds in the amount of $393,245 for design services with Hazen and Sawyer for the line NN emergency replacement project.
Thank you. We have Jack Adam from Hazen here. He'll be walking us through a PowerPoint, and also with Jack is his colleague, Stephen Williams, so with Hazen. Before we get started on the PowerPoint, the title was for design services, and I know 393,000 is a very large dollar amount. I just want to walk the board, and we're going to go through it in greater depth, but this is a cradle to grave. This is not just design. This includes the forensic testing that the board requested. This is coordination with all regulatory agencies, Caltrans, design, contractor coordination, RFIs, special inspection, as-built. It's everything that we need. So I should have worked better on that title, but we'll get that next time. But with that,
Cradle to grave was too.
cradle to grave, exactly. It didn't read well. But with that, Jack Adams, does he have the clicker?
I do.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And if the board has any questions, as always, please just interrupt us as we go.
Yep, please interactive. Again, I'm Jack Adam. I'm the project manager for the Line N Emergency Replacement Project. I'm happy to be here, although albeit under difficult circumstances for you all with the break that you're going through right now. But we're happy to be here and helping you with that. What we're gonna cover here today is I'll talk a little bit of background about, you know, what happened, where you came from and how we got here today. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the work we've completed to date, starting with our geotechnical work, talk about some of the alternatives we looked at, and then where we ended up and where we are today with our recommendation for the replacement. And then I will turn it over to Chad to talk about kind of the next steps and the approval of the request for the approval of the PSA. So let's start with background. You know, remember back to June 11th, that's when the initial break happened. Your crews went out, they immediately shut down and isolated the pipeline, and then initiated some internal camera inspection. The break is on the north side of the Highway 76. They sent cameras down into the pipe under the freeway. They were able to get about 75 feet into before they got to blockage. It was a longitudinal crack that they observed in the pipeline. They also went on the south side and dug up the pipeline on the south side, and that was found to be intact. So we know we've got a break. We know what extends under the freeway. We just don't know. We know it at least 75 feet, but we don't know how much farther it goes. Hazen was this board declared an emergency on June 24th to get going on the replacement, and we were retained on July 2nd, just before the 4th of July. We started work on looking at alternatives. The first thing was kind of collect some background data on geotechnical, look at what might be feasible alternatives. And we presented that to staff on July 22nd. What became apparent during that time was that quick is a relative term. So even though we are on a fast track to do this, it was going to take some time. So your folks here, Robert, initiated putting in a high line, and that high line was energized on August 7th. What we also realized was we needed to get some additional geotechnical information. So we initiated a request for that, and that was through your as needed. We did some additional soil borings on August 18th. We just received the results about 10 days later, which was really fast turnaround. And we reviewed those. We're actually getting some additional testing, and I'll get a little bit more into that. We submitted, after we got to that point, we submitted our scope and fee to staff on September 8th, finalized our alternatives analysis TM, which is attached to your board packet. And then here we are today, requesting the approval for the next steps.
And if we could just pause real quick, Jack. So from the time the break was found, the GM declared the emergency, it was brought to the board. Staff and Hazen have met every single week on this. And so when we talk about the alternatives workshop on July 22nd, and then mobilizing for geotechnical borings less than a month later, that included drill rigs, coordination,
Permitting,
letters of permission. I mean, staff and the consultant Hazen have been working around the clock on this.
yeah, it seems like a lot of time, but when I look at it, it's been going very quick and very fast. Let's talk about the work we've completed to date. So first of all, this is a geologic profile that we've developed for the project. Trenchless construction is very different than open cut construction. With open cut construction, you can open the ground, you can see the boulders, you can remove them. If there's unsuitable soils, you can remove it and replace it. With trenchless work, you can't see any of that. So what we rely on is geotechnical investigations, soil borings, as many as we can get along the length of the trenchless construction, so that we can then put together a ground profile that looks something like this. Our initial investigation was to reach out to Caltrans and see what they had. They had the 4 borings that you see in the center under the freeway here. Those were borings that were for about 1,000 feet away. There's an animal crossing, and those were completed by Caltrans to support the construction of the 76. So that was the first piece of information that we looked at, and we started to develop kind of an understanding of what the soils looked like. What we found was that there was some gravel and cobbles. Let's see. Is the
So Patty can.
is the pointer working?
The pointer won't.
Won't work.
Oh, it doesn't show on screen.
Okay, gotcha. So in the center boring, you'll see the area rounded right there. So we found some areas where we kind of had some concerns with some problematic soils. So we decided at that point we would go out, we would get some additional geotechnical information on that. So we found a couple of different types of soils here suitable to different types of trenchless construction. And then we have, with the further soil borings and testing that we've done, we've found some potentially problematic soils for one of our proposed methods, or one of the methods that we're looking at. So we're doing some more testing right now. We've got the geotech is providing us with some additional testing, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So let's go to the next slide. So kind of give you a little bit of information on what we're looking for in the soils. So really there's 2 primary types of soils. You've got the soils that stack like marbles. So they flow, they don't hold together. They shift easily, they offer little stability. So those soils are problematic for certain types of trenchless construction. And then you've got the soils that are kind of stacked together. They interlock, they hold their shape, they provide stability. And those types of soils are more suitable for what we traditionally call jack and bore, which is kind of the most cost-effective method. It's the most widely known method. So really what we're trying to determine is, do we have jacks or do we have marbles out there? If we have jacks, we can proceed with the jack and bore type method. And if we have marbles, we have to use some more advanced methods, microtunneling, which it's a little more costly than jack and bore. So here's a little information on the auger boring, the traditional jack and bore. This is a casing pipe that is pushed into the soil, and it has an auger inside of it, which basically extracts the soil. So you can see here, if you have this flowable soil, it's an open face. So the soils can just flow in, and you can lose stability of the hole quite easily. It's also, it doesn't work very well if you have high groundwater. So if you're below the groundwater table, the water flows in, it doesn't control that. Again, this is the most common type of trenchless. There's a lot of contractors around here that do this. So we're hoping that this is a viable method for us, but we're still looking into that. The pits that you see up on the either side of it, it is a pit to pit method, what we call. You'll notice them when I show the next slide, they're a little bit larger. So there's a little bit more of an impact area. So that's jack and bore. Microtunneling is a little bit more advanced than jack and bore. It's a closed face system. So you can see in the center picture, you've got a closed face with cutter heads and little orifices, openings that let the soils in. So it controls not only the rate of that the soils come into that you're cutting, at the rate that the soils come in, but it also can control groundwater. It's a little bit more expensive than the auger boring, and the pit sizes are a little smaller than for Jack and Bore. And then the last method that we looked at is actually the method that was used to install the original PVC pipe under the freeway. And this is called horizontal directional drill. Horizontal directional drill starts with a drilling, as you can see on the left-hand side, a drilling rig. And they actually drill under the freeway or under what you're trying to get under. And then they pull back the drill head and they expand the hole. They fill the hole with a bentonite clay to keep it open. This is also a problematic method when you have the flowable soils, because there's nothing to hold the soil open other than the bentonite clay. So if you have soft soils, flowable soils that don't hold together, you can easily lose the hole. And we think that's what's happened on your original installation, is that they lost the hole and they couldn't really get the pipe pulled in. So what you do is you open the hole up, you string the pipe that you're going to pull in, you pre-assemble it outside of the hole, and then you actually pull it in under the freeway. This also, the bentonite clay is an environmental concern. They have what they call frack out. If that bentonite clay starts coming up to the surface, that's an environmental concern. So the contractor that we contacted a bunch of contractors. One of them happened to be the contractor that originally installed this piece of pipe, and he recommended against doing this again. So
Hindsight.
yeah. So finally, here's kind of our comparison of the methods. We have a more kind of expansive comparison within the report if you want to dig into it a little bit more, but we looked at a number of different criteria. First of all we looked at the construction risks. So we talked about auger boring, and the reason we're doing some additional testing to determine if the soil types are flowable or stackable. And that is the jury's still out on that one. So we're doing a little bit more study. We know that we have satisfactory soils for microtunneling, and that'll pretty much mitigate the risk there. But then on a horizontal directional drill, we have a very high risk soil type. So you can see in the bottom, we're not recommending that. Budget level costs, we talked about that. You can see some budget level costs within the report. Those costs are not reflective of the emergency fast track nature of this project. They're more reflective of a normal type project. So there's potential that those could vary, but for comparison of relative alternatives, you can get an idea of what we're talking about for that. We talked about environmental impact. Really, auger boring and microtunnel are about the same. The pit sizes are very similar. We listed auger boring as medium just because of the larger pit size, and then horizontal directional drilling the highest because of the laydown area required to string that pipe out is much larger than required for either the auger boring or the microtunnel. And then based on our contractor feedback, we both the auger boring and microtunneling are both appear to be viable, although again, the jury's still out on the auger boring. So where are we today? So today, what we're recommending to your staff is that we proceed with what we're calling a solicitation package. It's not really a bidding package, although cost will be a component of it, but it will be a technical solicitation of qualifications, experience, and work plan and cost that we will then take in for both auger boring and microtunneling. So we're going to be, even though cost is different, we want to reduce risk. We want to look at the big picture. And then so we'll prepare that package. We will and then bid those two on a technical selection basis against each other. Again, potential that, if the soils come back and are really flowable, we might just be left with the microtunneling as an option.
Jack, I have a
Um,
question for you.
sure.
So, the contractors that would be bidding on this, do they have the capability of doing either one, or does one specialize in auger drilling, the other in micro tunneling?
So
Do some of them have the flexibility to?
So
offer both
n-
services?
no, unfortunately, they don't. So auger boring and HDD, the horizontal directional drill, there, we found a number of contractors that would do both of those. Microtunneling is really a specialized, the machines are specialized. So you're really looking at a higher level of contractor for that.
Thank you.
There's a number of local contractors that do auger boring. Microtunneling, we're looking, there's one in Southern California, there's one in Denver, that have expressed interest in this project.
And availability of material and contractor availability will come into that criteria when we get there. But we have, how many monitoring wells are out there right now?
There's two.
Two, and
Yep.
we're monitoring them on a weekly basis,
I think we're monitoring weekly for groundwater level, yeah.
analyzing that data. And so that's really gonna determine whether auger boring is actually a viable option when we get to that point. I mean, and our goal for the district, we got lucky. This is under Highway 76 and there's no impact to traffic.
Right.
We're not about to go do this and all of a sudden impact traffic. So that is a huge consideration that we're taking into account.
Auger boring would.
Has more risk to that, as we were talking
to
about the,
Traffic, I mean,
Subsidence.
if there was a problem,
Subsidence.
if
it would like suck in or something.
if it created a
that-
whole
if-
way.
Yeah.
If the soils are flowable and they start to flow into the front open side of the casing pipe, that's the concern, is that you start creating voids, you start settling the freeway. So that's why you need, with those types of soils, you need that closed face system that will control the flow of the soil into the excavation, into the pipe.
So for point of clarification, we're only looking at the section under 76.
Right now,
We've
correct.
eliminated all the other as being viable.
We're only looking under highway
Originally, we didn't know where it was, so it was
Correct.
from,
to Old
on
River
the-
Road.
yeah.
Yeah, so Highway 76 is phase one. And once we get phase one and it's done, that will be plotted into the CIP at a later to go under San Luis River to Old River Road.
But the pipe's intact.
That pipe is
We
intact
verified.
and
That,
is working.
that pipe's intact. So we're only looking at like 400 or 500 feet
It's less
based
than-
on.
less.
That is correct.
Determined.
About 350 feet.
I have several. Um, because it's under 76, we're pretty much limited in the core samples that we can take. You did one at the entrance and one at the exit, and you're monitoring those, I take it now.
So that's correct. We do, sometimes we will go out and we will get a permit with Caltrans and get a boring in the center of the freeway.
Yeah, that would be disruptive in that section.
Be disruptive to traffic. You'd probably have to do it as night work. They're pretty costly. We feel like we have enough geotechnical information. It's 1,000 feet away, but with the confirmation of the kind of the profile.
My concern is based on thoroughbred lift station and bore samples there is you'll see a very broad spectrum of subterranean layout in very short distances. And so I'm a little nervous. We only got two. Is there some way this is the engineer in me going, yeah, and that's a stupid question, Hayden. Doing a horizontal core sample under the thing along the general path to try to get a read on what we're looking at.
So that is actually they actually do that, but you do that in kind of conjunction with the construction. So that's pilot tube auger boring is a kind of an offshoot.
Well,
of
you
vacuum boring.
mentioned that as one of the options.
That's one of the options that we looked at, and that would kind of be at the contractor's option, but that's not typically done for a upfront investigation just because of the cost and magnitude of it. But you're right, it's all about mitigating risk. So two borings on either side it's very risky.
1,000 feet away, which to me is
1,000 feet
maybe
away
it's like that.
is, so do you want to have another one and in a perfect world right at the spot right in the middle?
I'm not interested in disrupting traffic on 76, but if we can get creative and try to get a better read, I mean, go look at what the oil companies do in I can't think of the word now, but essentially reflex sounding,
Mhm.
doing soundings and so you can get
So there,
density concentration.
right, so there is, there is, oh gosh, what's the name of it? You can do soundings, the name of it, seismic refraction
Yeah, thank you.
is
That was
what
the
they
word I
do.
was looking for.
The issue that we have here is with the freeway and with the fill that's over the freeway and getting it down to depth. And really what you're looking for in seismic refraction is you're looking for that, the echo of, the wavelength of the echo, and that gives you an indication of the rock. Now
Jack, can you back up to the one that showed the profile of
Yeah,
now
sure.
Highway 70? Perfect. So that's how deep, because where would we be if we were micro tunneling? Which layer would we be in?
So the micro tunneling, if I recall correctly, is in the dense no, it's actually, that's up higher. So that can be in the very loose and fine silty sands, because the micro tunneling, so up in the green layer.
Right there.
Yeah.
Between those.
It's right on the split of.
Yep.
thing.
And that's because the closed face is able to handle the loose soils. So the auger boring is lower because we've got the medium dense alluvial soils that we've mapped through there. So that's why the auger boring would be a deeper alternative. But you're right. But what we did find with the two borings that we did, even though they're 1,000 feet away from the four borings in the center, is that they really confirmed the assumptions that we had. There wasn't a lot of changes to the soil profile. There were some minor changes, but it really gave us a little bit of confidence that, maybe we can go get away with this without that center boring.
I hear what you're saying and I understand the engineering behind it, but I'm also saying, is there any other way that
We can look
Because-
at that.
Thoroughbred Lift Station, we had a major issue with the contractor over boring samples and where they were taken.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that what we thought was there wasn't there.
So we can look into that
Yeah.
and get back to staff.
Yeah, we can
on
look.
that.
But that's my only thing is mitigate that risk on our assumptions that it looks like this. If you can
Yeah,
do anything
the
you can
more-
to mitigate that, I'm
more
just needing a
information-
little extra money there.
Yeah, the more information you have, the better, the less risk that you take
Right.
on, for sure.
No, those two N1s are the ones that you did,
That's correct.
but those four were existing of when they did put it in. We just had that information when they did
We
it.
requested
prior.
it from Caltrans.
And Lisa, you gotta look at it this way. Here are the two bore samples we did, and here are the ones that the Caltrans,
They're
did, 1,000 feet away. They're a quarter of a mile away.
Those four in the middle are
Yeah.
1,000 feet away.
And what I'm saying is based on our experience in the
alignment.
San Luis Rey Valley, what happens in 1,000 feet can radically
Okay,
change.
I totally am on the same page with you as far as being bit, like we know.
We will look at some alternatives. We'll get back to Chad
Yeah,
and Jake.
I appreciate that, because like I said, we spent a whole bunch of money over that, and I don't want to see that again.
And
And I don't want to get in drilling and suddenly find out that the choice we made isn't going to work because we encountered a problem that
Well, and
this solution.
I mean, that is, it is a critical decision. I mean, one of the key decision is probably going to be the construction method,
Yeah,
right? Because if what you're likely to have is a lower cost construction method being jack and bore, or you can go, hey, I know I'm getting through with the micro tunnel,
Right.
but it's going to cost me $500,000.
Yeah.
So that,
That's really going to be your risk
I-
mitigation
yeah.
choice.
that's
You got
exactly
it.
right, Jake. Yes.
Because even, I mean, we could say, hey, we're gonna shut down Highway 76, put the thing down the middle, and then 40 feet from there, it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're never gonna be able to
Never
knit
do
it
it.
100% other than you can drastically lower your risk by just saying, hey, I'm gonna go with the more expensive.
And I'm going to
construction
pay up
method.
front.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm
Instead
paying.
it's
Yeah, but if you go with the more expensive one and it has a moderate risk on one of the,
On the table.
on one of the soil samples, and you hit that soil sample, what are you gonna do?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Well, a moderate risk isn't necessarily a fatal flaw.
Yeah.
So understood. It just
Price suddenly
presents,
goes up
it
higher,
presents some challenges.
you know.
The micro tunneling mitigates many of the risks for all of these soil types. So, but it comes at a premium.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we want to evaluate.
I don't mind a premium, except I don't want to do the premium, and then suddenly find out, oh, that wasn't the right choice.
No, your
I think
point is
it-
well taken.
Yeah, I think pretty well though. It's pretty much the bulletproof choice. That's why it's kind of in as.
All I'm saying is make sure those bullets are solid. They're not hollow points or buckshot.
Is there a rule of thumb on what that typical expense increase would be for microtunneling versus the auger?
So
It was about $500,000.
well, it's about, yeah, it could be double. Like I think we were about at maybe 1.2 was the estimate for auger boring, and we're close to 2 on the micro tunneling.
Question for us. This is
It
gonna
was
be,
1.7.
this is gonna be towards Chad and Hamilton, because I can't remember. That company that we had out here, I don't know, what it was 3, 4, 5 years ago. I believe they're from Australia. That we were doing a test out here by lining pipe and it seemed to work. Was that for sewage or was that for high pressure pipe?
That was just for potable water pipe. That They were out of Canada and the test actually did not work. It deemed no, because it's kind of apples and oranges. That one was for a distribution line where we have appurtenances, water services, fire hydrants coming off of it, whereas this has no appurtenances off of it. But that line, Robert was there for that. All of that, we actually sent that to a forensic lab called Twining, and the conclusion was this is not viable.
Yeah, and this is not, you can't line this pipeline.
No,
It's
this
just
is-
damaged and the pressure's 280 pounds. Yeah, so there's really nothing.
The lining would be a pipe inside a pipe.
Correct.
And-
Which would,
And then you lose your capacity.
And
Correct.
then we still have a horizontal, a longitudinal crack that we don't know how far it goes. We know it goes at least 75 feet. Could go farther.
Yep.
And now you're sleeving this with, say, Robert, what was the one we just used under a Primus liner? It could want to. It has nothing to hold into, and we
I'm not-
still don't have a casing. Should we ever have another?
I'm
break.
not talking about the liner. I was talking pipe and pipe.
Yeah, we really need a casing with the pipe.
okay.
Anything else you want me to?
More on the geotech and leaning towards less risk is what I
Okay.
hear.
Leaning towards, yes.
Then
more
I
geotech.
have some questions relative to the financing of this.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think we're to slide 10 now. We could segue to. Okay, so with this, Hazen has presented the technical memorandum, which is part of our board packet. Wanting to enter into a professional services agreement with them. That's the $393,000, includes all of the different tasks which we put the table in. We want to solicit the technical proposals with the contractors, invite contractors out there. There'd be a mandatory site meeting, continue the permitting process with Caltrans, and continue coordinating with the regulatory agencies. Hazen is working with Helix Environmental on that. So working with Fish and Wildlife and the others. Yes.
And then I thought you said earlier, they're also gonna do the forensics on the
Correct.
pipe. Also in their bid to see if that was effective pipe.
Yeah, that's task number 7 in it, and that's for $34,710. So
Part of that number. Yeah.
it's part of the 393.
Yep.
Correct.
Next slide.
Okay, and so this is just a very high level breakdown of everything that would be in our professional services agreement, their scope and fee, but this is that cradle to grave that we were talking about. Yes.
So now this would be to Alfred. If forensics comes back and says it was the faulty pipe, then whatever potentially we pay on this project, we can go after that company for damages or no?
It would be a consideration, I would think. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a consideration. Yeah, there'd be a lot of factors you have to consider.
But that's why we're doing it, to see if there is a flaw.
Both for manufacturing and craftsmanship of the installation of it. It'll be, both factors will be
And
accounted
it
for.
couldn't even go after, hypothetically, if you see a date on that pipe, let's just say it was 2000 and it was installed in 2004, then maybe even the contractor, because maybe the contractor had pipes sitting out in the sun that does breaks down, so it'd be interesting. I mean, it could be multiple people you could
Let's,
go after.
let's see what the results are.
Of the forensics.
It's pure speculation now. We may find, oh, it was good pipe and it's just a sharp rock pressing down on it.
Exactly. You just don't know.
And this is, and hey, we actually had our last progress meeting last week, and I actually complimented this whole team. We are really diving into the weeds. I just wish this wasn't an emergency project.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting project to be working on. I just don't want to having to do it at this pace. But with that expedited everything, our costs do go up. We are in less than 1 month, we're out there drilling. But this does include everything. This is not something that the district typically does. We've had lots of consultation with legal staff on making sure we're checking the boxes. We are in a declared emergency state, so we don't have to go publicly bid. This can be more of an RFQ process and making sure all those, and we really are deferring with Hazen and have been extremely impressed with everything they brought to the table thus far.
We appreciate it. Next slide.
Yep.
So this is the schedule. You want to go through it, or would you? want
You
me to
go,
talk through it?
I thank you for adding the months to it for me.
Okay.
It was in
No
week
worries.
numbers and I'm like, I need
So
months.
again, this is why I said earlier that fast is a relative term, right? So the design phase, we're here in October. So we're proposing that we would get a solicitation package together in 4 weeks. So Director Hamilton, that kind of goes back to your question about how long would it take to get additional information? So that would stretch.
Yeah.
After we get that package together, we'll meet with staff. We'll discuss the package, make sure we have all their comments incorporated, and then we'll enter into what we call a bidding phase or a solicitation phase. We'll also, during this design phase, we'll be reviewing information with the contractors so that they're not seeing anything for the first time. Because 4 weeks for bidding a project like this is very short. Typically, you have a 6 or 8 week bidding period. So we want to cut that in half. So we want to be sharing information, sharing draft drawings with them, sharing specifications with them as we work through the design. So they'll see that package hopefully out beginning of November, and we'll give them the month of November to solicit to prepare their proposal packages. Then we'll come back. We'll review them with the district. We'll make a decision, and we'll hopefully be back to see you the beginning of December to award a contract. That'll kick off construction and mobilization, which is shop drawings and go ahead.
Didn't you not say there's only 2 companies, one in Southern California, one in Denver, that is Micro?
So micro tunneling, we have 2 contractors right now, and for auger boring, we have 2 contractors right now. Our hope, and we will be continuing our outreach to find a third. We want to have 3 for each, if at all possible. So we just haven't found it yet.
And part of that is based on their availability to do the work. Right?
Part of that's based on availability. Part of that's based upon just where they are.
That was in your proposal.
Exactly. So we'll continue with that contractor outreach in hopes to get 3. But right now we have 4 contractors total to bid against, to provide solicitation, to provide technical qualifications for the work. And all of them have availability on the schedule, and all of them have shown interest. We've had a couple that haven't shown interest on the micro tunneling side. And then we really don't want the contractor who installed the original pipe back to put this one in. So that was kind of our third. So we eliminated them off. That was Golden State. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay. So 4 weeks to mobilize, get through shop drawings, get the contractor on site, and then really 6 weeks for them to get set up, to construct their shafts, set up their project for drilling, and then the tunneling goes quick. We've a couple of weeks to tunnel, another week to install pipe, pressure test, disinfect, and then button everything up, get the connections made. And so we're estimating that we'll be commissioning this pipe about the beginning of April of 2026.
Have you done any, not having seen the wildlife undercrossing? I noticed one of your accesses to the south side is through that Are you going, have you verified that you can get equipment
Yeah.
through there?
We
Lots of
pretty well, yeah, we have.
Okay.
Lots of measurements have been
Yeah,
taken.
lots of measurements, and we're pretty confident that they can get
I
through there.
assumed you had, but it was like,
There might be a limit on, it might drive, where they do their primary work probably would be on the north side, and then they would just be retrieving any machine that on the south side to
Okay.
limit the type of work and equipment that they need on the south side.
And I think the major caveat to this schedule is Caltrans. We haven't submitted through their portal because we don't have 100% design.
yeah,
And so that could be a huge wrinkle, but we continue to work with them, as does Hazen. So
They haven't, there is in their standards, a clause for emergency work, and it does cover utilities. We're having some back and forth with them
it's a nice way to put it.
on this, and they haven't necessarily recognized that at this point, but we continue to push that point and move ahead. I mean, all we can do is move ahead and submit when we get there.
I think too, just an important point, and this kind of from the beginning, this was, what we wanted to see out of this, just given where this pipeline sits and really the importance of it. I mean, this is the suction side of the Dentro de Lomas pump
Correct.
station, which serves a huge area down in Division 1. The result of this construction will be a casing underneath Highway 76 with our conveyance pipeline within that casing. So if you ever have an issue with that pipeline again, you actually have access to go in and retrieve it, replace it, get it. So this isn't a 25 or even 50-year project. We're kind of looking at it as, we want this thing. I don't want to think about this thing for 75 or 100 years,
Yeah.
right? It's not going to be me thinking about it, but Chad Williams III. We don't want.
I think about that High Line every time I drive that corridor right now.
So I know sometimes, the dollars, but that's how we're looking at this thing is it's too important.
Yeah.
And
too critical path.
don't ever want to be here again. Yeah.
Any other questions?
I think is the last side questions. I think. There you
Last
go.
side?
Any other questions from the board
I don't have any for Hazen.
for staff? Okay, I have closing remarks, but I'll answer questions first.
In reading the proposal, we originally budgeted 500K
Yes.
for this emergency project. And that you indicate that we've got 225,000 encumbered and 68,000 additional in legal and other costs. Which leaves 206,000 in the kitty. And you're asking us to bump the 500K by almost 400K.
Mhm.
Where's the other 178 or 200?
The 206 that's available. So we continue to work with Helix. We have not even scratched the surface with the regulatory agencies yet. So that'll be a huge lift from our environmental firm as coordination with Hazen. We have not scratched the surface with Caltrans yet. And also legal, we continue to confer with legal. So that's why we would prefer to leave the 200,000 available and award just this, so we're not touching that pot of money.
Because you anticipate you're going to need it.
I think so, between staff time
Yes.
as well, and that
Especially if I do another boring in the middle of 76, I'm gonna.
No. You don't have my vote for boring on 76, but seismic sounding or
Nothing.
anything like that that's
Got it.
non-destructive that can be done quickly to try to get a better picture.
Well, you just took all of my closing remarks. You in order, so I'm happy to answer any additional questions. But yes, staff is asking for the board to approve option 1.
Any discussion? Any additional questions for staff or Hazen? Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Pardon?
Move approval for option 1.
Moved by Director Irvine, seconded by Director Hamilton for approving option 1. Incrementally funding the $393,245 for design services. Et al. Et al. And others. Okay. Roll call vote. All those in favor? I'm making sure I can do a roll call vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much for your presentation. Item B, consider approval of a sewer service agreement with Spa Havens LP for the Cal A Vi Health Spa Division 1.
Yeah,
This is Chad.
it's me. This is a lot less complicated. than the first one. Oh, I'll wait for it. There we go. So this was an interesting one. So this is the Calavi Spa. This is just south of Gopher Canyon Road and west of the Vista Valley Country Club, now the Havens Country Club. The developer reached out to us and said we would like to exercise those available EDUs that we now have. So Amanda Constant, myself, and several other people at the district started looking into it, and we could not find a fully executed sewer service agreement. The spa was originally constructed in the 80s. So we reached out to the developer saying, could you provide us with a copy of the sewer? No one has any record of this drawing. So we dug into all of our files, and what we could find was, this is just where, if you're unfamiliar with where the spa is, actually is at the very top of the hill. You can see the Vista Valley Country Club, and then the dirt area in the upper right corner, that is now the Havens community that was just constructed. We actually went in and looked at it, and alls we could find and alls they could find was that they paid for 23.5 EDUs. And that's, both parties agreed to that they didn't have this. I think they were originally saying they had like 30 or 60 EDUs, but there was no proof of that. So staff went back and said, we need you, developer, to do a sewer service study. Show us what you have on site that was constructed, what's currently under construction, and what you're proposing as future construction. They hired TransTech engineers to do this. The sewer study came back, and much to the developer's dismay, came back that they need an additional, their in arrears 5.8 EDUs. I'm sorry, in arrears 1.8 EDUs, and they need an additional 5.8 for a total of 7.6. So they are currently constructing new villas on the site. So not only did they not have enough with what's already under construction, that left them in arrears by 7.6, unless they stopped all construction, didn't actually connect to that, then they would have only been the 1.8. So we went back, and there was a lot of back and forth for them. They have the, I'm realizing a typo on my slide, we didn't ever put the additional EDUs, but I have that in your memo of 37.2 would be future. So those two X's should say 37.2. That's future construction. That may or may not ever happen. If it does happen, the developer would pay at the then current capacity fee. So they're not opting to pay 50% of that right now. So here's that table. So to bring them current, to get it 100% and finalize this and actually enter into a formal sewer service agreement with them, the developer owes us $143,343.60. That brings it current. It accounts for everything that is built thus far and currently being built. The developer is aware of this, so are all of their engineering team. And then again, that future building use, EDUs, that's a table that would be in the sewer service agreement for future. And again, that caveat that if you ever do choose to do this and cap fees have gone up, you're going to pay at the then current rate. But really, this is just one of those ones where they came to, had they not come to us and done it, we would have not known that this was there. So we're going through some of the larger developments now going, okay, what other unturned rocks do we have out there? Because this is actually very beneficial to the district.
Yeah.
That it's a very short presentation. It's a pretty straightforward thing. It should have been done in the 80s. It wasn't. We're bringing it current now at today's rates.
Any questions or discussion? Is there a motion? I assume that's option one.
Option one, yes, please.
I'll move.
Moved by Director
I'll
Hoffman,
second it.
seconded by Director Mack. All those in favor? Aye.
All right.
Consider approval of addendum 2 to expand the participation in the Crock-Pot program.
Yes, and Amanda presented some of this to the Communications Customer Service Committee, but we have an action today. But I'll give you a quick update just on the program. Crop Swap, which started about 2 years ago, a program, a grant-funded program through Rancho California Water District, but includes 5 other agencies, including Rainbow, Fallbrook Rainbow Escondido, Valley Center, UEMA, are all the participating agencies. Rainbow has done very well in this program. It funds all kinds of agricultural improvements, including, all kinds of best management practices and things that you would do on site. But the big projects are actually the crop conversions or the crop swaps, which can also include just a swap from avocados to avocados. So you can replant with more drought tolerant, salt tolerant, which has been a very popular option here in our service area. We've had almost 100 applications, I think just under 100 applications, so 100 different properties that have submitted for projects. 40 of those projects have been completed that total almost $800,000 in grant funding that's gone out to our agricultural customers. We have another 270,000 or so that are approved that have grant funding allocated to them, and their project is either, it's in progress, but not complete yet. We also have 17 additional projects that are kind of waitlisted. We spent our entire allocation. We actually spent our entire allocation in about 3/4 of the rest of the first come first serve allocation for the regional agencies. So again, very successful program. We've seen a lot of reinvestment by our agricultural customers. What's the next slide? Flip the next slide. Oh, I have this, don't I? Sorry. Just to get, I just like to order people around. These are the types. And so you can see, we do have 21 crop conversions. So those are avocados to something different, and it has to be lower water use. So it doesn't have to be avocados, but avocados to citrus, which is, about half the water uses, or, maybe a third less. Avocados to wine grapes, that's actually heavily subsidized because it's about a quarter, wine grapes use about a quarter of what avocados do per acre. So there are 21 of those projects. We've seen things like figs planted, some very unique crop types. But really the majority, you've got, 32 plus 13, you got 45 projects of of those approved projects are replacement of avocado rootstock. So again, old trees with new trees, better rootstock, things like that, or the rejuvenation, which is stumping. Basically, they stump their old trees and regrow. The other projects are more of those BMP types, scheduling automation, which are basically new controllers and things like that, mulching, soil moisture sensors. So anything that really improves the efficiency of the irrigation. So a lot of projects there. Those are typically kind of the smaller dollars. Those are, $2,000 to $5,000 kind of incentives, where the crop conversions go all the way up to $50,000. The customer can get up to $50,000 in rebates for those projects. So again, Rainbow's been very successful, but there's been a lot of projects in Fallbrook too. I think Fallbrook has about $500,000 in projects. Valley Center's done a pretty good share, and so has Rancho. Rancho's done quite a bit, but Rancho had and this was based on the original agreement, a $2 million original share of the $5 million grant for their service area. They've only spent, or they've got allocated about 1.35 million of that. So they're about 650,000. That's no projects, no applications have spoken for that. The Department of Water Resources, who the grant comes through, has decided this grant program is not going to continue on. So they're not granting any extensions and any of that. So, and we've got to be done in about a year, by October of 26. So it kind of puts a time crunch on us spending this money. It's use it or lose it. And so what Rancho's decided is they're going to, and this is the addendum too, they're going to allocate that $650,000 for use by all the regional agencies. They want the money used somewhere in the area. It also allows for anybody who hasn't spent their allocation. So this would be Oceanside, I think, is still a little under, and maybe Escondido. At some point, if they want to release their funds, they can too. Another push. So there's going to be at least 650,000 that's basically put back in the pot to, it'll go off the wait list first. So our 17 customers that are on the wait list, those all getting taken care of. Any anybody who's on Fallbrook and Valley Center, which I think they have a bit of a wait list too. Those will get taken care of. Those will be the first ones. And then if there's additional need, we'll basically re-advertise for, to do some more projects. So anyways, good thing, more money into the pot for the regional agencies to use. And so that's really the crux of addendum 2. Is that all we got? That's all we got. That's what I thought. But again, great program for us. And I think, from the district's perspective, our agricultural customers benefit, which is huge. Also it sustains agriculture. It's a district benefit. I think without the reinvestment, potential is some of those groves could go to nothing, right? The trees just get cut down and that just goes away. So I think long-term, this is kind of a long-term play by the district to make sure agricultural stays. We keep selling water and really it's just a important part of our community too, and something we want to support. So we are chasing additional funds and additional avenues to fund this program. So we don't want it to stop when the $5 million is out, but we definitely want to spend the $5 million. And so that's kind of what we're after today. So the action is to approve addendum 2 to allow Rancho to release those funds.
Absolutely.
I'll second.
Absolutely.
Gotcha, Patty.
So we can hear you?
Oh, good. This makes my day. The intro with the agenda was not so happy. This makes me very happy. It's great for the farmers.
Yeah, it is.
So does the district get any administrative funds in this program?
It's like covering our.
Yes.
Well, we're not actually administering the program, so.
Well, you're doing something.
Well,
we're talking about it right now.
I do. I donate my time pro bono to talk about crop swap. The administration of the program is actually handled through Rancho Water, and there is a portion of the grant funds does cover that. Yes. Yeah.
So it was moved by Townsend Smith and seconded by Director Hoffman. All those in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? The motion carries. Item number D, consider the award of an amended agreement with the Engineering Resource of Southern California for the Water and Wastewater Master Plan.
Pardon me, President Hamilton, may I please have a different motion for that approval? Instead of Patty?
I'll move it. So someone needs to second.
Second.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, moved by Director Hoffman, seconded by Director Irvine. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, item number D, consider the award of an amended agreement with the Engineering Resource of Southern California for the Water and Wastewater Master Plan.
Okay,
Chad.
got this one?
Yep.
Got some water in between, so thanks for giving me a little break on the vocal cords. Okay, so this one is coming back to the board. At the August 19th board meeting, the board authorized the district to enter into an agreement with Engineering Resources of Southern California. We have in our audience Tony Herda from ERSC here. When we went to go actually execute that professional services agreement, we found a couple clerical errors and one thing that the district wanted as an optional task that was not included. And so we worked with Tony and his team at ERSC and went back through it. So if we could go to the next one, please. So here it was, the original amount, $635,140. However, after we started going back through it, there were some hours listed on task 3H. They had the hours, they just didn't have a dollar amount, and it was actually also omitted from the total. So we needed that corrected. And then in section 2.3 of our RFP for some sewer flow monitoring, it was not included. Tony and I had some very good discussions on the interpretation of that section, so it has since been added. And then as we were requesting the urban water management plan, we feel we're getting a good order of magnitude by including this. There's some overlap between the master plan effort and this is a state requirement anyway. And so we asked ERSC to prepare a scope and fee for that. So with those three tasks being done, we can move to the next one, please. Thank you. It brought the revised total to $768,550. This is within the approved budget, so there's no allocation of funds being requested. But it is an amendment to it, and then with, do you have something, Jake?
In a minute, go via.
Oh, okay. It was like a silent auction. You moved on, all on you. It is within the approved budget. So again, no allocation of funds is being requested. We have the scope and fee revised. It's been vetted by staff. We have the amended professional services agreement. ERSE has had a chance to review that. So if the board were to approve the motion today, we would, that's what the next step is, would be the first scheduled workshop to get actually started on this effort in early to mid-October. And before I go on, I'm going to turn it over to Jake.
Yeah, and just, you know, to ERSC's credit, we you know, we talked about the kind of the clerical omission within the their fee table. They are not included, that they're not adding a total into there. They're gonna eat that. Yeah, that was an error on their part. The sewer flow monitoring is an absolute necessary. Again, there was just a little bit of a interpretation, and when you read the paragraph, yeah, you can kind of see where we had intended. You know, the intent was to have it in the contract, but they had assumed that we were going to contract direct for it. So it's a cost that we, you know, it's a task that needs to happen. So that's it. And then the urban water management plan, we, like Chad said, does provide a lot of value. I think if we went out for a separate, you know, scope and fee on that, we'd probably be paying 6 figures plus to get that done. But because of the overlap and the data, you know, the data that they're already gathering and those kind of things, it kind of brings those two things together. So anyways, that's the basis behind this, and that's our request today, is to award that contract for $768,550.
And thank you for the clarification. That's why the table in your memo has 0 for that task 3H, because ERSE is not, they're not going to include an actual number for that. I think that's the last slide, I believe. That is.
Any questions? Do I have a motion?
Recommend approval for item 10D.
I'll
Option
second.
one. Moved by Irvin, seconded by Director Mack. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Information items. Any questions or discussion? Do we have any formal presentations on those or not?
No, I think all the information's in there. If there's any questions, happy to, we've got the team here to answer. I will mention on, well, I can wait, I'll save for my comments.
I was just going to say, one, we did get a lot of inquiries on Eagles Perch, and so that project has been included in the engineering activity report.
Right.
So that was added at the board of directors request.
Yeah, pipeline replacement.
Do I have a motion to accept the information items as posted?
So moved.
Moved by
I think these
Director
are
Irvin.
just information. Yeah,
You
no.
Don't need a
They-
vote or
yeah.
anything? Okay. Reports and comments.
Yeah, I'll comment a little bit just on our, you know, kind of first month out of the gate on water sales. It has been a cooler than average summer. You know, temperatures have been down. So July sales, which really more reflect the month of June, which actually was very cool and yeah, unseasonably cool. So water sales a little down to start this fiscal year, just through 1 month. I think it has picked up just based on my review of the purchases the last couple of months. So nothing to be alarmed about, but we were down a couple hundred acre feet, it looked like, from normal, or from, yeah, kind of that 5-year average. So anyways, a little bit of catch up to do there, but again, our farmers are getting a little bit of a break with a cool summer and a little bit of rain and that kind of thing. So, and you know, we had a pretty good sales year last year, so it's
Except for the last 2 weeks.
yeah, we had a little bit of rain and that kind of thing. So, so more to come. You know, we keep hearing projections of a dry winter, but you never know, just because it's La Nina. It was La Nina the year they had whatever it was, 60 feet of snow in Mammoth. So, you know, you never really know. But that is that's that. I mentioned this at one of our committee meetings, but we did kick off as part of the mutual services agreement, the state and federal lobbying efforts. So we began working with our state and federal lobbyists. That's one where the shared contract between us and Fallbrook and Valley Center and UEMA. And so I think very productive. Obviously one of the key goals of that is to obtain grant funding, through both the state and feds. It's a little tight right now out there as far as grant funding goes, both on the state, just because of the state budget issues, and then feds are kind of locked up right now a little bit with the releasing of funds. We are working on a few grant applications. We have one through Cal OES, fairly large grant application for some emergency generators and things like that. But we're kind of picking our battles there, trying to go after some of those grants, but it is a little tight right now. So really a lot of the effort is kind of ramping up, and we're, focused on crop swap and infrastructure replacement, and kind of all the agencies kind of have the same interest. And so, and I think us speaking as a group obviously is a little more powerful than just an individual agency. So, so we're ramping up those efforts really in preparing for kind of the next budget round, right? We do have a couple of specific target areas, but this board will hear more from that too. We're going to probably the quarterly, we'll have our lobbyists come in and just kind of give you an update on what's going on, both at the legislature and as far as things that impact the district, but then also our grant pursuits and things we're doing there. So, but I think so far very successful rollout. Any concerns that I think that we would have different interest. We all submitted these kind of questionnaires that kind of gave our priorities separately. All 4 agencies did, and they look like carbon copies almost. I mean, everybody's got their own things, right? They do have their own things, but I mean, those core things, agriculture, infrastructure replacement, those things are all kind of core to each agency. So that's good. A lot of activity on the development side still. We have, Ocean Breeze Ranch, almost 400 single family homes. It's being planned on the Vessels property, which is just south of 76, between the 15 and what is that, Camino del Rey, that kind of runs through there, or Lilac, kind of that area over there. They are moving quickly to try to get that project started. So we've been working with them. Chad had mentioned the Havens. The Havens are working on their second phase. So phase 2, original phase had 59 units.
159. Right?
No, the first one was
59.
Yeah, 59. I think 56 are sold. So it's been pretty successful. And now they're moving on to what they're calling phase 2 and 3, which is another 194 units, I think. But pretty significant. So in that same general area between Gopher Canyon, kind of behind or across the street from the country club there. Yeah, a few other things happening out there. Those are kind of the 2 hottest ones that's seem the most viable, but a lot of it going on there. I did mention this to the committee as well. The Valley Center's general manager just retired, or not just retired. He's announced his retirement. Gary Arant, who's been at Valley Center for decades, I think since the 90s, I think. So 20, 25, 30 years, somewhere.
40,
somewhere in that range, which is, wild. You just don't see that very often. But obviously, good friend of the district and has been a great partner and all that. So we were very interested to see, we have a lot of things going on with Valley Center, and so interested to see who would succeed Gary. And we know that now. The Valley Center announced that they had selected Lindsay Leahy, former Oceanside Utilities Director and friend of the district, as their next general manager. So we're pretty excited about that, to have Lindsay taken over out there. So I think that's about it. Well, I guess I will mention this, just kind of big water stuff. And this does involve the state legislature. There was some couple of bills going through. Well, one of them was a trailer bill to the budget that was intended to expedite the Delta Tunnel right? The Delta Tunnel to bring additional water down to Central Valley and Southern California. That did not make it off the floor. So it didn't go. Also, along with that, SB 72, which was actually driven originally by Western. This was something that Western had kind of originally derived, but got picked up by CMUA. Ended up sponsoring it, a big utilities association out of Sacramento. And a lot of agencies behind this. There was a bunch of NASCAR letters and that were sent to Sacramento. That one did pass, and what it does is for the state, it sets targets on water supply. So basically goals on it's actually a goal of an additional 9 million acre feet that would include conservation. So conservation is a part of that, but not just conservation, storage, supply, kind of conglomerate of supply projects to total an additional 9 million acre feet available. And I think the target was 2040 or 20, I think it was 2040. So basically sets a goal for the state. Hey, you've got these action plans, right? You want to do desal, you want to do this, you want to do that. We need to start doing that to kind of hit that mark. So it's something they've been working on for a couple of years, but they got it. I'm not sure if the governor signed it. I think he has until he had like 12 days. So whenever that was, it might be this week or next is the deadline to actually sign those bills. So hopefully that happens. Again, I think the hope was those two things would come together, right? An expedited project along with some real targets, and those things would drive some real investment at the state level. But one of them didn't quite go. Sites Reservoir, which is another huge water supply project. It is north of the Delta, but big reservoir storage. And Met's a part of that. They basically own a piece of that project, or a funded piece of that project, so they would own some of that storage. That got a little boost, not a little boost, a big boost by some Prop 1 money that actually was returned. So one of the projects that was originally funded by Prop 1, I think it was the Los Vaqueros Reservoir. They're not going to do it. Just not cost effective. Just kind of fell apart. So 220 million actually went from there to the Sites Reservoir, and it looks like Sites is got some real momentum. So that would be a big water supply project for California. So, anyways, that's all I got today.
Legal counsel.
Thank you, President Hamilton. I did a written report and update on the Public Records Act Public Records Act, and it's an important and positive case for public agencies. Confirms that plaintiffs filing a challenge under the Public Records Act cannot file the case as a class action. There's been a growing trend of plaintiffs across the state trying to allege there was a violation under the Public Records Act, and then they would argue that this is a matter of public interest, and therefore they should be able to seek class action relief both on their individual behalf and on behalf of the public. But here the Court of Appeal rejected that argument, ruling in favor of the city, basically finding that the Public Records Act remedies apply only to the individual who submitted the request. And the court cited a couple cases for the proposition that the Public Records Act does not provide authority for one person to enforce another person's inspection rights. The court did acknowledge there could be an individual claim. In this case, it appeared there were some timeliness issues. The city had its own website, but then the city Department of Water and Power had a separate website. So the court cautioned the city, it's important to timely review and respond within 10 days as required under the Public Records Act request. But still, there's no class action authority and no authority of one requester to state a claim under the Public Records Act. And, here for us, the district, Jake, and the staff do a really good job on this. We have the request form available right there on our website.
Therese.
And it's regularly.
That'd be
reviewed.
Therese.
Therese, absolutely.
Give
So
credit where credit is due.
So I could lose my report unless there are any questions.
Do you expect it to be appealed?
I would doubt it in this
This
case.
is-
Yeah.
Not enough money involved for the lawyers to really get interested to take it over.
Right, I would think so, yeah, but you never know, But I haven't heard any rumblings of an appeal yet, so.
Board member comments. Director Hoffman? Director Irvine,
None.
Director Mack,
None.
Director Townsend, Smith,
None.
and myself. I'd like to amplify on Jake's comments about the state water project and the Delta conveyance and things like that. At the Council of Water Utilities last week, we had a briefing on that project. They had the votes to pass the bill, and the president of the Senate basically says, I'm against the project. It will not get to the floor as long as I'm president. Very, very frustrating. But in that presentation, we also got an overall briefing on Department of Water Resources activities and challenges. And one of the things that came up that I had not heard of was the fact that the DWR is basically saying for people down south, I can't guarantee that you'll get more than 13% of the available water coming south in the next 3 to 4 years. And the reason for that is subsidence in the Central Valley. There are 2 sinkholes which have lowered the canal levels to the point that they can't push water up over the downside lip. And she said it's anywhere from $3 to $10 billion to fix it, and probably more. So that was kind of an eye opener that went, it doesn't matter whether they dig the tunnels or not. We can't get the water because we can't ship it. So they can't ship it south. So interesting. That was my particular thing. Board reports, CSDA.
We had the conference. I believe it was, my opinion, was one of the best ones they've had in a long time. They had excellent speakers. One of them was Joe Theismann. He was
Darn.
he was excellent. He was one of the better speakers I've heard in a long, long time. I thought it was very well run. They had some very good classes this time. Greatly improvement. I think they're kind of outdoing Aqua, it seems like. So that was it on that. And then we had a CSD quarterly meeting. And a gentleman who was the speaker was Christopher O'Malley, and he was from the Community Health Statistic Unit, which he said right off the bat, you have to be kind of a data geek to enjoy this information. And it was all statistics on everything you can think of in San Diego. And it was interesting. They said they pull out information yearly. And I always thought you got your information from the census, which was every 4 or 5 years. And he goes, no, they do it yearly, and they get, I guess, their information from the hospitals. But one thing I thought was kind of interesting. He made a comment like any water industry or any special districts need any information on statistics, so they're willing to give it to you for nothing. So I thought that was kind of a really nice thing. Some of the stats he gave, I thought to me were kind of dry, but again, it says you have to like that type of information. And piggyback what Mr. Hamilton said on that dinner meeting last week. I want to compliment that lady. She was really good. She started right off and saying, I don't use notes, and she just was off her thoughts of her at the time, and she was very well spoken and gave some really enlightening. As I had problems with the sinkhole bit, which I had to have that explained to me, so I went and asked her. And one question was really interesting. And then when Mark Roback, he's a director from, I don't know, is it OTime?
Okay.
And he brought up a question, asked her, like, the Delta bringing those tons is not going to benefit San Diego at all, because he mentioned that San Diego's got that water project and everything like that. And he says, so what's the benefit? Why should we don't gain from it? And then
Why fund it?
Yeah, so it was. I think that kind of caught her off guard, but it was an interesting point that someone brought it, like, doesn't benefit San Diego. So that was interesting, but she was a very good speaker.
And she had a good response, to that, which is, I recall, is along the lines of, you may not benefit directly, but you'll benefit indirectly. So you should consider those aspects as well.
So that's it on that.
LAFCO?
LAFCO did not meet in September. There are a couple things going on down there that are mildly interesting. The city of San Diego, filed suit against La Jolla for their detachment from the city.
Surprise, surprise.
Which you guys started.
And in their claim that San Diego would be negatively affected by the detachment. So,
Surprise, surprise.
That's the point.
so little deja vu for you. And then there was there was an article that came out. I think they are nearing, LAFCO is getting nearer to the end of the MSR on the Water Authority, which has been going on for quite a while. And I think even got delayed for a little while. They had a consultant that was working on it that left that position and took another. And so I think but there was an interesting article, if you look up the Voice of San Diego, about some of the options that they're kind of kicking around as far as, how the Water Authority should be structured. So, yeah. So it'll be interesting to hear how that comes out.
I have a question for you, Jake. You mentioned to us, can you give us an update on that little piece of parcel near the Border Patrol? What's your anticipation? So LAFCO Riverside would have to vote on that, right? For that to go through?
Yeah, that's something the agencies are looking at, us and Eastern and Western, as far as just kind of best service to that area. Nothing's gone forward to LAFCO yet. All we're doing at this point is, there is some momentum behind it, but we're looking at some of the infrastructure needs. So we do have a pipeline that's nearby, but it would require an extension. Western has some facilities there. And they have started to provide some information, though, just statistical information on connections and, use and, water use and things like that. So we're kind of early in the process. Ultimately, yes, if there was, if something was to go forward where they wanted, where we were going to actually switch the retail agency, it would go through Riverside LAFCO. Yeah, because it's in Riverside, right?
And then I thought you mentioned on maybe some of the infrastructure, wouldn't Western pay for some of that? I thought you mentioned, or why just?
Well, still in
Details to be.
still in the works. Yeah. I think we're just trying to define what it is, and then we'll kind of work out all the details. But there are kind of multiple areas in play to try to clean up some of these. They've just been islands for years, yeah, but that is a cooperative effort that's going on, and Chad and Robert have been involved on our end, and Western is funding the study on the infrastructure. So that's as far as we've got so far. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Eastern MWD?
Not a lot there. We're Eastern is having, and you may have got the invite. I hope everybody got the email. Okay, for their 75th anniversary, they do a state of the district every year, and I think they're combining those two things, the 75th anniversary. So I think it's October 16th in the morning, 8 to 10. So if you're able to come, I think it'd be great.
In Paris?
Yeah, at their headquarters. Yeah.
There's also potentially an ad hoc committee meeting next week. Or no, it's Thursday, 25th. 25th of the 30th. That's this week. This week or October 1st.
I didn't know this week. Okay. Thank you.
It's just developed,
I have it in my calendar for Thursday. I was surprised that it might actually move to the 1st. 30th was under consideration. I can't make the 30th.
Okay.
Aqua.
Their fall conference will be was it December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th?
Yeah, somewhere.
And then it's in San Diego, which is
Great.
Very rare. So that's really wonderful. So hopefully everybody can go to that one.
Any committees, workshops, seminars, or training to report from? Request to attend upcoming meetings, conferences, or seminars outside of the usual group. Pre-approved. Suggested agenda items for the next regular board meeting. Be a short board meeting.
I imagine we'll have something.
Yeah. Talking about the next board meeting, I will not be able to be here for the October one.
Okay,
Heads up.
for the October one,
Appreciate that.
which is the next one.
Yeah, the one in October.
You won't be here.
I will not be here in the one in October.
Okay. If there are no other items to discuss, we're adjourned to closed session. Take a 15-20 minute break, 15 minute break.
Director Townsend Smith, I sent you a link for the closed session board meeting. Could you join that, please?
Oh, okay, will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But we didn't have anybody.
Patty, I'm going to send you a new link. Sorry, the link that I sent you will not work. Okay,
Yeah, okay,
all right, I'll email you right now.
okay.
Thank you.
We have a scheduling issue.
Oh, okay, got it.
Hey, wait a second, but why can't we change our board?
Yes.
Resuming the open session for the Rainbow Municipal Water District Board of Directors meeting for September 23rd, 2025, coming out of closed session. We have nothing to report, is that correct?
That's correct, President Hamilton. Two items were discussed, public employee performance evaluation and also conference with labor negotiators, and there's no reportable action.
Thank you very much. And on the agenda, we have the discussion and possible action regarding the appointment of an evaluation of performance and our compensation of the general manager, Jake Wiley. The general discussion is that we don't feel we have all the data that we need to make a decision at this point in time. And therefore, we are looking at exercising option 3, other action at the board's discretion, to defer this topic to a future meeting, regularly scheduled meeting, unfortunately.
May I ask a question? Or there's the pre-contracted amount that's due on his anniversary date, which is this week. And then the board at its discretion at any time can do anything, exercise the other options in the contracted.
Yeah.
And that's acceptable to the board.
Yes.
So, but that would be option 1, to only do the pre-contracted COLA today and then defer any additional action related to a merit after you obtain the information that you're looking for.
That's not,
If that,
Yeah.
that's acceptable. It's not the way I interpreted the options, but that's fine. So
I just want to make sure that that's what the board intends to
so
do is.
to restate, the decision of the board for review of the board is to exercise then option 1 and take up any merit and bonus consideration for a future meeting.
And I believe in order to properly, to comply with the government code 54953, you have to read aloud the script, the full script for option 1.
Thank you. I will be happy to do that. And option 1 states, I move to authorize the board president to execute an amendment to the general manager's contract to increase base pay according to COLA terms previously negotiated between the board and Mr. Wiley. The contracted 3% cost of living COLA will bring his rate pay to $10,613.41 are $275,948.66 annually. The board also will take up at a future meeting any consideration for merit and bonus compensation. So I've made a motion. Is there
I'll
a
second it.
Yes.
Seconded by Director Mack, moved by the board president, Director Hamilton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. And I think that
Would
basically,
we announce that we will not have an October meeting? No?
Cause you won't have a
We'll
quorum.
work
on
work
that.
that out.
Sure, yeah.
And then, Carleen, if you could just.
do we need to do
email all
that
of
in
your-
session or can I
all of
close
your
the
data
session?
to all of
Just
us?
just a second.
Yeah, I can.
Does that need to be an open discussion or can it be offline?
What was the,
His request of Arlene.
that's fine. That's direction to staff.
Okay,
Yeah. So
thank you.
just, you mentioned there was a lot of things in there that you didn't send because it was
Yeah.
maybe too complicated. Just
It's a
give
very
it-
large spreadsheet.
And Carleen, we're primarily interested in those districts that most mirror us.
Mhm.
Okay,
I can highlight this.
thank you very much. The Board of Directors meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.